everyone. Hopefully, everyone is having a fantastic day. Thank you for taking the time out this evening to join us on our launch. Has Dr. Ijeh and myself partnered up with other practitioners and other professionals to launch this product line to help you, right? We're naturopathic doctors. I'm a naturopathic doctor and a wellness consultant, and I actually work with all walks of life, women, men, mostly detoxification, weight loss, hormone imbalances, and things like that. And just endocrinological orders, disorders like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. And mostly that's what I work with. That's the demographics I work with. I'm located in New York City. That's where I am. So I'm in the cold over here. I don't know where you guys are, but that's where I am. So thank you for joining tonight. We are excited about tonight. We are excited about this. And please just turn your TVs off, no distractions. Put your phone on mute, and we're gonna turn it over to our professionals and our other practitioners who are gonna be taking it over and introducing to you what we are excited about. We've been talking to some of you guys about this, so we are so excited that the time has come to share what we have in store. So Dr. O, go ahead and take it over.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Ijeh and Dr. McDermott. It's a wonderful opportunity to be with you today. I know so many people are joining us. We have a panel presentation today, and I have some wonderful colleagues that are going to be co-hosts, co-presenters with me today. And I'm just going to ask them to unveil their cameras so that you get to see who they are before we actually launch into the presentation. First up, I'm going to introduce Rachel Garcia, who is a physician assistant. She's a pure chairman Diamond. It's wonderful that she can join us today. Then I'm going to introduce Melissa Urban, who is also one of our diamonds at Pure, and she's also part of our panelists. And Dr. Nkem Opala, who is the medical director of Victory Medical Clinic. So we have a wonderful panel today, and it's going to be a fantastic evening. So just buckle your seat belts, be ready to take notes, be ready to, just step in and take action as this 2021 has rolled around the corner. We are glad to see 2020 behind us, but we got plenty of work to do in 2021. So this is a fantastic way to start the year off. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is that I'm going to share my screen, and then we're going to get started with the presentation. All right. So before we get started with the presentation, I just want to give you a little bit of a background about myself. My name is Dr. Omawumi Oshinubi. I'm an occupational physician. I have been practicing medicine for more than 30 years. I'm certified in preventive medicine and also in functional medicine, occupational medicine. What does that mean? I look at what's going on around in terms of exposures and how that impacts the body, and how that impacts health. So that's in a nutshell. I work with soldiers who've deployed overseas for combat, who've had all manners of exposures, how it affects their health. And what we're looking to do is what can we do to actually help people make a comeback after they've had various types of exposures. Okay.
Dr. Oshinubi, before you go on, it seems there's people who can't get in, so we want to make sure everybody can get in before you go on.
All right, good. I just clicked the admit. I just clicked the admit button. So I'll have to kind of multitask as I do this. So I'll keep my eye on that button. But thank you very much, Rachel. I appreciate that. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? We called it Metabolic Reset 2021. Is this going to be just a resolution, or is it going to be a revolution for your health? And we've already introduced our panel presenters. So someone said at the end of 2020 that when 2021 comes around, it has to come with its own terms and conditions, right? Because 2020 was a tough year. And why is that? Because we know that the COVID pandemic really ended life as we knew it. When they did a survey about 10,000 people and tried to kind of figure out how has COVID impacted them as an individual, basically more than 90% indicated that it impacted their lives to a significant degree. And why is that? COVID is a multifactorial disease, right? It's changed our world in in unprecedented ways. It is highly infectious, it's multisystemic, and it carries with it a high risk of serious disease and death. That makes it a high dread disease. And there is really no effective treatment for COVID. You know, there's the hydroxychloroquine controversy. There is more and more data showing now that there's something called ivermectin, a medication called ivermectin that can work and has worked. And I've actually prescribed it myself with some very good results. You've heard about some antiviral agents like remdesivir, but not everyone has access to these medications. And, you know, it's definitely not 100%. We're still having hospitals that are full and overflowing with COVID. And of course, there are the vaccines that are coming out now. And there are questions about the vaccines, right? So with the vaccines, there have been some questions about Bell's palsy, some people getting COVID after the vaccine itself. So there are questions. So COVID remains a high dread disease. And it also means that we still have to continue to do the social distancing, the isolation. But what we want to be able to present to you today is that you do have options in terms of how to protect you and your family and to optimize your health from this problem, from this plague that we're faced with. Obviously, when we had the COVID situation, we had all manners of established risk factors, all the diseases that are listed on this screen. All the diseases that are listed on this screen have been associated with high risk of serious COVID-19. We have possible risk factors, and you probably know at least one person in your life that's directly impacted by COVID. I'm getting some messages here in terms of, I just want to be sure that everybody can get in. And I need to be able to mute everyone. And I have to be able to do that. 1 second, let me, yes, let's go on. Just put your cameras on, your mics on mute, please, for now, okay? So what are the real risk factors that can cause people to have serious disease? Well, the research actually shows that 90%, that means 9 out of 10 people that end up with this serious disease, because not everyone who gets the virus gets a serious problem with it. 9 out of 10 people have one of these conditions: high blood pressure, hypertension, obesity, chronic lung disease, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Those are the biggest contributions to COVID, the serious disease. So if you don't have one of these, the most likely thing is that you would do fine, at least based on the data that we have.
Can everyone please mute?
Okay, I took care of that. I'll just reshare my screen. All right. So with that, with the COVID infection, what the research actually shows is that those big ticket, I'll call illnesses, which are the cardiometabolic illnesses, are the ones that are the most contributing factors from a medical perspective. So let's look at 2 cities where we had the most impact of COVID. The state of Louisiana. They looked at those patients that were hospitalized and died from COVID, or those that, that died from COVID. What were the risk factors? High blood pressure in 60% of the patients, diabetes, 40% of the patients, chronic disease, chronic kidney disease, obesity in about 1/5 of the patients each. Look at New York. The data is pretty much consistent. So these I would call them, these are the big ticket risk factors for COVID-19. And you can see that's actually quite prevalent in our society, because these are chronic conditions that we are accustomed to living with. There's a paper that came out, and they were looking at, this is really from the Centers for Disease Control, and that in America, obesity rate reached 42%. So that's more than 4 out of 10 people are obese, right? Which is the highest in history. And 1 in 6 children are obese. Now, Louisiana and Mississippi are among the states that have the highest obesity levels. And they both have very high numbers of patients that died from COVID-19. In Mississippi, about 40% of those people who died from COVID were obese. So it's very important to start to think about these conditions and what we can do to reverse those conditions so that we're not as at risk of, succumbing to these kinds of plagues. So why is it then that obesity and hypertension and diabetes, why are they contributing to such a severe fallout from a viral infection? It's really because of our lifestyle, our diet, what we eat. The sad American diet or the standard American diet that makes us sad, right? It's high energy, high excess energy levels, calorie dense, right? Pro-inflammatory. It causes inflammation in the gut. You can see up on this image here, the leaky gut. When you eat foods that are, inflammatory to your gut lining, it causes the space between the cells, the tight junctions, to separate. So material that's not supposed to get into the bloodstream will get into the bloodstream. And that will cause abnormal hormones or inflammatory chemicals that will cause inflammation in your blood vessels. What the body then tries to do is to put down fat cells to protect your abdomen from that inflammation. Unfortunately, those fat cells that your body is putting in around the belly is actually, they also put out inflammatory chemicals. So the body starts to get revved up. So there's kind of this smoldering inflammation that keeps on that goes on in the body on a daily basis. And with all of those inflammatory hormones, which we call pro-inflammatory cytokines, they affect the brain. They cause symptoms such as depression, anxiety. Over time, they can cause dementia. They can cause memory deficits. They affect the nerves to cause inflammation of the nerves and nerve pain, affects the liver. Before fatty liver used to be because of alcohol, now it's because of our dietary patterns. It causes leaky brain, leaky lungs, and when there is a virus like COVID, and we don't know that it's only going to be COVID, anything else, the body, it is not well equipped. It doesn't have that kind of immune resiliency to defend against itself, against these foreign invaders. And so this cytokine storm can affect the lungs, it can affect the brain, it can affect the kidneys. In fact, there's more research that's coming up now to show that eventually what we're going to be seeing is a lot of COVID brains, because of the inflammation that's happening in the brain from COVID, both from people who are symptomatic and people who are not symptomatic. So it's really important for us to get our gut health in order. So what is it that your doctor hasn't told you yet? And now it's wonderful that you have Dr. Ijeh and you also have Dr. McDermott on this call, because they are really frontliners in terms of telling you what the real deal is with this situation. Well, the research is actually out there now that the gut microbiome is an under-recognized contributor to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what is the gut microbiome? The beneficial bacteria in the gut protects your health. And Dr. Nkemi is going to talk more about this, all right? Metabolic syndrome, we're going to mention that in another slide. If you have metabolic syndrome, the chances are that it's going to be tougher to withstand a viral infection like the SARS-CoV-2 virus, okay? Now, people who have diabetes are more predisposed to the virus, and those who did not have diabetes before, after the infection, they can become diabetic. That's what the research is showing. Now, diet is going to be very important in both prevention and also in terms of healing, because life and death actually starts in the gut. And then, of course, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of this cell. When there's damage to these cells, the mitochondria takes a hit. People feel tired, they feel fatigued. They have, what we have, cognitive fatigue. It's difficult for them to process information. The mitochondria has been affected, and it's very important for you to know what you can do to improve the health of those that have been affected, and also those, in terms of prevention. Okay. So what is metabolic syndrome? Now, I'm going to give you a test at the end of this so that you have to remember the definition. I'm only kidding. But basically, it affects pretty much all aspects of the body. And you're probably thinking, doctor, oh, I'm never going to remember all of these, right? So how would you know if you have metabolic syndrome? Because we know that this is so widespread, it affects pretty much every area of your body. But in terms of how you know that you have metabolic syndrome, if your waist circumference as a man is more than 40 inches, or as a woman is more than 35 inches, if your blood pressure is more than 130/85, there was a time in med school we used to think that was normal. No, it's not. That's high. We really should be, 120/80 and below. If your fasting blood sugar is above 100 milligrams per deciliter, or if you have what we call abnormal blood lipids. And I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'm sure that Dr. Ann and Dr. McDermott can help you figure that out on your lab tests. If you have these conditions, you do have metabolic syndrome. And quite a number of, a sizable proportion of the American population have this. Now, what are the risks? What is the problem with this? In terms of the obesity, on one side is the cardiometabolic issues with the insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, hypertension, stroke. And then on the other side of this equation are the other conditions that no one really wants to have. It's the cancer, the asthma, the sleep apnea, the arthritis, the neurodegeneration, gallbladder disease. All of these conditions lead to premature death, even without COVID. And the lifetime estimate of obesity per person is more than $92,000. I mean, that's a small house. If you're thinking about, how expensive it is to, have these conditions. Now, we've talked about all the, bad outcomes, I would say, from having metabolic syndrome. But the bottom line is that there is hope, because these are reversible conditions. We know that metabolic syndrome it's not the fault of the individual. It's because of our culture, the food that we eat, and we can, why would you eat 22 packs of sugar in your drink? Because basically that's, our fruit juices, our sodas, that's what they contain. But there are ways in which we can address that in terms of nutrition, stress reduction, sleep and exercise, and having a healing environment. And so what we're going to do is focus on how to actually resolve this metabolic syndrome in 2021, and what you can do to feel better, what you can do to look better, and what you can do to live better in 2021 and beyond. So that's our goal. So one other thing, a couple other areas that I wanted to mention is the use of nutritional supplements. What the research has shown now is that because of nutritional deficiency, people are having difficulty with COVID. If you're vitamin D deficient, the risk of dying from COVID is 4 times that of someone who's not vitamin D deficient. And also, as part of the treatment protocol for COVID, for those that are using ivermectin, they're actually using vitamin D3, vitamin C, melatonin, and zinc. Those are all nutritional supplements that we know boost and support the immune system. Now, there is a paper that came out yesterday, again, looking at the gut microbiome. When we think about the gut microbiome, we're thinking about probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics. And, Dr. Nkem is going to touch on that some more. So I just want to know that there are options and ways in which you can improve your health, not just from a COVID perspective, which is very important, by the way, but also in terms of long-term. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Nkem Opala Opala, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. She's the medical director for Victory Medical Clinic. She's a Pure Sapphire executive. She's a fantastic physician. She's a wonderful colleague. And she's going to tell you more about her own journey to excellent health and options for you in terms of how to improve your health and well-being. Dr. Opala, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. O. That was a wonderful presentation. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy day and night to spend time with us to learn how to actually better your health. Dr. Kayan and Dr. Ann actually care about you and wants to share what is actually changing people's lives now, even before now, but now with this pandemic. So my name is Nkem Okpala. My husband and I are both physicians, specialized in internal medicine. My husband also specialized in hospice and palliative care. And we have had our practice for over 5 years now. We have 4 little kids between the ages of 5 and 11. So if I say busy, we're extremely busy. And we also run 2 offices in the state of New Jersey. A couple years ago, I was morbidly obese, over 300 pounds, and though I felt as if there was no way out. I was sick and I was doing exactly the opposite of what I was supposed to be doing. And I was teaching my children the same thing and teaching clients the same thing. And someone was kind enough to tell me about this philosophy we have in Pure, which is of cleansing, balancing, and building the body. And when I actually employed that philosophy, I actually lost over 150 pounds. I always say I lost 4 toddlers, right? And kept it off as well. And with that, I started introducing this in my practice, giving patients options, letting them know what nutrition, whole raw nutrition can actually do for them. Now, I'm also very encouraged when we work with integrative medicine doctors and how it's actually very important to find out the etiology, find out what is wrong and how to actually better help our clients. I actually love the gut when it comes to integrative medicine. The gut is actually the powerhouse. I always say it's the first brain. I'm not sure if anyone agrees with me yet. I know it's called the second brain, but we have about 80 to 90% of our neurotransmitters, those things that help with our mood, those things that help with digestion, those things that help with high glucose metabolism, actually produced in our gut. Now, if you have a sick gut, you're unable to function. If you have a sick gut, you're not able to do anything at all. So taking care of your gut is one thing that Pure actually does. Now, especially in this pandemic, right? Like what Dr. O was saying about COVID-19, what we're seeing in patients that have this disease, they're low in vitamin D, low in melatonin. Now, naturally, even without COVID-19, as we age, we actually have reduced production of melatonin, correct? And that is why we have fewer cases in kids, because for some reason, the virus actually cannot, or actually doesn't manifest as much in kids because of their high melatonin levels, right? We have lower melatonin levels, and that is why I like Pure. They have all this good nutrition for you, and most of our products actually have melatonin as well. So testing is actually very important. Find out what is wrong. Why is my gut sick, right? GI mapping, things like that will actually help delineate how you can actually feel better. Now, cases that we actually treat in our practice, hypertension, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, all these things, the main etiology is inflammation, right? Toxicity, right? Neurodevelopmental disorders, autism spectrum disorders, all these things we've actually found are due to toxic brains. But when you heal their gut, which is what we actually do in my practice, starting from the gut, healing their gut, we actually find that most of these children thrive. Most people are actually healed from multiple mood disorders, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations and attempts. All these things actually stem from the gut, right? So releasing and helping them actually produce those neurotransmitters by helping them have a healthier gut is where Pure comes in with all our wonderful products. So I like that big connection, the brain immune gut connection, stimulating the vagus nerve, right? Now, how do you stimulate the vagus nerve naturally? Gag reflex, like when you're brushing and you try to like depress your tongue. How many people are going to do that? right? And when you do the gargle, and this is like the light form, it has to be like a very deep gargle. How many people can do that? And why do you need to stimulate the vagus nerve? Because that is where you actually help your patients with their gut health as well. Because if you stimulate the vagus nerve and you have actually a functioning vagus nerve, it improves your gut health. Why do I want to improve my gut health? Digestion, right? Like we said, mood. Most people are actually on anxiolytics and antidepressants because of a sick gut. Now, our products, right? Like if you follow the philosophy of cleansing, balancing, and building the body, Goji, which improves circulation. Most of our patients that have these neurodevelopmental disorders or mood disorders have reduced or poor circulation. Goji helps improve that. Our Goin, which is herbs pulled together for you, right, was even compared with an antidepressant and actually found to be better than the antidepressant. So what we have in Pure is just giving our patients like a lifeline and saying, this is what you can do as opposed to prescription medication or living the way you are without feeling better. Recently, my husband and I were diagnosed with COVID, not recently, a couple months ago. And I was still working because we had employed this philosophy of cleansing, balancing, and building the body. I was just tired for one day. And it was actually my Sabbath. And I felt I probably did a lot. I cleaned the house. I cooked the same day. So I was probably tired, but I felt really tired. And I decided to test and I was positive. But I wasn't sick, but of course I had to quarantine and not see patients. But I was seeing them via telehealth. I was still able to exercise 6 hours a week. I was still able to do my stuff, just not be with my family because I had to quarantine myself. And it's because of what we have in Pure. I had exposed my immune system to all these products, the cleanse, the balance, the daily build that has inositol, that has selenium in it, right? That has vitamin B complex in it, that has resveratrol in it. All these things actually helped heal me. Digestive bitters that help your gut, like noni, was something I actually increased. Anti-inflammatories like mangosteen, hydrated meal, I kind of tripled and doubled all those things. And people kept asking me, are you sure you're positive with COVID? You're not acting as if anything is wrong. I didn't feel bad. I really did not. And I really believe it's because of what I exposed my body to by using these products. My husband as well, which, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, guys are actually a little bit more difficult to convince, especially a male physician, because we're so packed with pharmacology, right? As in, what's the mechanism of action of this medication? What does it do? How is it going to heal you? We forget the side effects. So he started this philosophy months ago, and he was able to also thrive, even with a pulmonary embolism from COVID. So what am I trying to say? These things work. We've gotten our patients successfully off prescription medication. We've gotten ADD patients off amphetamines that we know on the long run is deleterious to their health, very addictive. People are dependent on all those things now. So giving our patients all these products help them improve their health. Now, in our practice, we do prophylactic and therapeutic doses. So as a physician, I always think, what is the pathophysiology of this disease? What is causing this disease? And I look at our products and say, okay, if I increase their circulation, how are they going to feel? If I give them more D, if I improve their thyroid health by what we have in our daily build, and also our calcium MK, if I give them more omega-3s, which these are all food for your thyroid, right? Which is, I mean, one of the major autoimmune diseases that we have in this country. Now, if you think about it that way, which is what Dr. K and Dr. Ann will be doing with you, thinking about the pathophysiology of the disease, find an etiology, and then give you the right products for that problem. It's going to be amazing. So you're in awesome hands right now. And also weaning our patients off medication is something that we also do too. Once you're on medication, we always recommend don't just go off the medication, right? Because that can also be deleterious as well. The main thing is work with your physician. Make sure that while you're weaning off the medication, you're actually replacing it with something. Because if you just decide to get off the medication and you're not doing anything, you're going to be worse off. So the summary of what we're doing as physicians here is to help you understand that you have a choice. You can take care of yourself. It's not whining about it in a corner and thinking that help is going to fall from the sky. Insurance is not going to take care of this at all. It is your responsibility to take care of your health. We are just here because we love you and care about you. We are giving you that information for you to use this opportunity to actually learn and take care of yourself. Okay, I think I'm going to stop this. I can give Rachel an opportunity to talk. So I'm calling up Rachel. She's an amazing leader. She was actually the first person I spoke with, no, the second person I spoke with in Pure, that told me about this company as well. And she's Chairman Black Diamond in the company. She has, she's married, has 2 children, amazing. We as physicians will not be able to do this on our own. It's extremely difficult to combine it and Pure. So most of the time we just text and say, you know what, I need you to do this, and you never feel alone. You have people helping you all the time, and Rachel is one of them. She's amazing. So she's going to tell us a little spiel about the amazing company of Pure. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Dr. Incam. Hello, everybody. It is my honor to be able to share some information with you all tonight. And I'm actually going to start. I want to see if this is the actual screen that I want to share with you. Can you see the picture of Dr. Incam? You heard her say that she struggled. She was morbidly obese. Oh, I'm having a hard time sharing the screen the way that I want to share it. Let's just see if I can't get it the way that I want to share it. And I wanted to be able to share with you guys a picture, because I think pictures really speak volumes, right? So I'm going to share some pictures of Dr. Incam and myself as well. And I think that they will give you a very good idea of what is possible here. And that's one of the things that I want to be able to do for you guys. And so look at this amazing, beautiful woman, and where she started and where she went. And you can see her quote there. You just heard her share her story. And yes, I was blessed to be the second person to speak with her. And we are really, one of the things I love about this company is it attracts medical personalities. It attracts medical doctors. It attracts the people that are really in the field of medicine to help others. And if you have been practicing medicine, it's my opinion, for at least 10 years, you have seen that prescription medications may not be the best way to go with everybody. And that was how I felt as a physician assistant. I was practicing medicine, seeing 50 plus patients a day, 12-hour days in 2008. And you can see the pictures of my husband and I on the left-hand side of the screen. And my brother called me up and asked for my opinion on the health aspect of Pure. They wanted my opinion on the products. And I'll tell you what, when you practice medicine all day long and you see lots of people, everyone is asking, what are your thoughts? Always asking you to look at something. And I really almost pushed this to the side. And thankfully I didn't. I agreed to take a look, and I was so blown away by what I saw when I first took a look at Pure that my husband and I, my children, jumped all in. You can see the radical transformation. The pictures on the right are actually 10 years later. And as you can see, we look like we've aged backwards. That is a normal occurrence when people begin consuming Pure. I only show my nephew's picture because I want you to know why I took a serious look at this. My nephew was diagnosed with severe autism in 2008, and I was searching for nutritional answers. In medical school, we are not taught about nutrition and the importance of food, and I was doing research, and I have a master's degree in clinical medical sciences. So I was researching these amazing women that have been training tonight. They're giving you loads of information, because what do we do in the medical world? We research, and that's what I was doing. And I began to learn the importance of food and what we're putting into our body. And I started an organic garden, and my food would go bad because I did not have time to cook it, and I did not have time to juice it. And then I began supplementing because I learned the importance, and I should say the lack of nutrition in the current food supply. Studies have been produced by the agricultural studies have been produced showing that foods that were grown 20 years ago, in this instance 1960 versus 2010, you can see you have to eat 8 oranges to get what our grandparents used to get nutritionally from 1 orange. It's not a wonder we're starving. No one's going to eat 8 oranges. And so we eat 1 orange and we get 1/8 of nutrition that our grandparents used to get, and we're still hungry. So we're trying to fill that void with lots of other foods, and that leads to what? Obesity and a number of other issues. And so people are supplementing because they've heard it's important, and they know they're not juicing, and don't have their organic garden, and half the country is under the snow right now. So their gardens are all dead anyway. So they're supplementing, and they're beginning to try to add other things in, but they're seeing no results. And so a lot of people out there have a medicine cabinet that looks like this. Yes, you've got multiple different things. Your grandmother has told you milk thistle is good. Your grandfather has told you fish oil is good. You've got multiple things from multiple different companies, and you don't really feel a difference when you take it versus when you don't. That is where I was, friends. And when I took a look at this, I suddenly understood that this company was speaking truth. That was my first revelation. And somebody who knows nutrition, when they begin to really look at what Pure offers, knows they are speaking truth. It's a biblical truth. Everything we need comes from the ground. What this company has done is taken all of the food nutrition from all over the world, purified it, put it into high quality, high quantity concentrations, and given it straight to us. They've made it really easy. And all of this nutrition, the 3 pillars of health that this company is based on, is again, medical truths. We need to cleanse the body of the toxins we've been consuming since we were born. We have 7 eliminatory organs, friends: your lungs, your liver, your skin, your lymphatic system, kidneys, blood, and yes, your intestines. And they need to be cleansed, but most people aren't cleansing them. Think about your car. You take your car in every 3,000 miles. If you don't, the lights are going off, right? You're not supposed to drive it for past 3,000 miles because the car manufacturers know that car's not going to make it for 200,000 miles if you don't cleanse it out. And they don't just pour new stuff in. They get the old sludge out and they put new oil in. But the average person walking around in the world today never cleanses their bodies. They think, oh, I poop once a day, I'm okay. Or I poop every 3 days, I'm okay. That's just one of your eliminatory organs. If you are breathing, eating, and drinking on this planet, you are breathing and consuming toxins every day that are backing up those organs that are supposed to be working and are not able to work. So there are 3 main philosophies here. Cleanse your body of the toxins that you're consuming every day and have been since you were born. Balance out your pH and your hormone levels and build your cells up with good nutrition. We have multiple products in this company that revolve around these specific pillars of health. And there are people who come along and try to pick and choose products. And I think every single one of the people on here today will tell you our products work best as a system. Because if you cleanse, but you don't build up your nutritional components, and you don't feed your cells that are screaming for nutrition, you're not going to be doing what you need to do. If you build up your cells, the nutritional component with plants, but you don't cleanse, nothing will be working the way it's supposed to work. So on this page, you see what we call our Core Plus products. There are 7 products that it's been my experience after 12 years of sharing this information with others, that within 28 days of consuming these products, what the typical person sees is 1 to 6 things. Weight loss without trying, better sleep, more energy than you've ever had, reduction, if not complete resolution of joint pain, mood improvement, and bowel habits improve. After 28 days, your body is reset. You figure out what you need to continue going forward with. And this is what everyone on this group that you're hearing talk from are huge proponents of. We also have some other amazing products in addition to the Core Plus I just showed you. These are our superfruits. They're 100% wildly harvested from the areas where they've been used for medicinal purposes for thousands of years. There are decades of clinical studies published on each of these superfruits. Goji is known as the happy berry in the Himalayan mountains. It is huge for circulation, huge for mood. Mangosteen is really big for pain and decreasing all kinds of inflammation. Noni is big for the gut. You just heard a lot of talking about the gut, killing parasites. If you have any kind of bowel issues, reflux issues, digestive issues at all, if you struggle with pain, if you have a history of cancer in your family, Noni is going to be really big for you. Acai is known as the beauty berry, huge for hair, huge for nails. If you have a hard time with your hair breaking off or your hair growing or your nails breaking, acai berry is going to be big for you. So a lot of times we encourage people, start with the Core Plus, throw on a superfruit that specifically targets something that you're struggling with. And so what is Pure? What the company is this company that used these products in a clinical practice for 30 years with patients. And the results were so fabulous that there was a 3-year waiting list for people to get in the door. So there was a demand for the system. There was a demand for the products. And they said, we're going to put the word out there so that anybody can get these products. But the only way you're going to find out about it is word of mouth. So you should be very thankful to the doctors who invited you on here tonight, because this is the only way you'll find out about it. Dr. Enkam found out about it from a very close friend. Dr. Osanubi found out about it from a very close friend. I found out about it from my brother. And that is how the word is spread. And so rather than having to go to a store and have a teenager hand you a flyer for the sales for the day, or stand there scratching, looking at the supplements, trying to figure out which to get, all the work has been done for you. And these doctors are putting their stamp of approval on it, saying, this is truth, we back it up, and we're recommending it to you because we want you to see results. I will tell you, friends, I let my medical license go in January of 2020. I went to school for 8.5 years to be able to practice medicine, and I let it go after 20 years of seeing patients. Why? Because I found a better way to help people. Medicine's changed drastically. And in my opinion, if you put the right stuff in your body, 98% of the time, your body will work the way it was made to work. I was asked to touch on the 12-week program that the company's currently offering. If you are at the beginning of this year and you're thinking, I need to change, I need to make a radical transformation in what I'm doing, the company right now has an amazing contest running, some great offers running, and they revolve around these 3 systems. And I talked about the Core Plus, which is really somebody who's not looking to make a change to what you're eating, but maybe are just going to add in those Core Plus products I was talking about. The detox, I'm actually on the 3rd day of the detox, 4 pounds down in my 3rd day. And that's for someone looking to make a radical change. You are ready for planned out meals. You want to change what you eat. You want to stop drinking sugar or alcohol and eating excessively. You're ready for a meal plan. The detox is my favorite for that. It's a 28-day program telling you exactly what to do. And then we have a 28-day change for someone who doesn't maybe want to think so much about their meals. They're ready to just maybe switch some meals out with some healthy plant-based shakes. So if you were to choose one of these 3 programs, you can admit yourself, you can enter a contest and have the opportunity to win a $2,500 prize. They're giving away 2 $2,500 grand prizes. And so I highly, highly recommend that you take a serious look at that. Why am I doing the detox? Well, because I just came back from 9 days in Hawaii and 3 days in Key West, literally right on top of each other. And it was time for me to do something very strict. And so, like I said, I'm on my 3rd day. And when you see the pictures of people who followed through with this detox program, you understand the power that it holds. Look at this. This is my sister-in-law's father. He looks like he was on death's door. I knew him. Do you know people who look like this, friends? They're swollen. You can see when you look at them, they're swollen. His whole entire life has changed after doing this detox program. He will never again go back to where he was. This man has a baby in his belly. Look at that. It's amazing what happens. This is my sister. She called me and said, I have to sleep sitting up at night. I have such bad reflux. I can't climb up the stairs. My knee hurts so bad. Her blood pressure was 210 over 150, and she refused to go on blood pressure medications. This is the 2nd month of her detox. Look at the radical transformation. If you're looking for a radical change, look no further than the detox, friends. If you're thinking, I don't want a radical change, I just want to change a little bit, then throw the Core Plus on. The side effects of doing the detox or the Core Plus products are oftentimes resolution of not just a few of these things, but all of these things. And the explanation behind that is what you heard in Dr. Osanubi's teachings earlier today. So if you decide to get started with the doctors, you're like, I want to do that detox, they're going to set you up. You're going to get some free swag from the company, as well as free shipping on your orders on month 2 and 3, which is an amazing gift. But also, like I said, if you know, like, okay, I saw those people's pictures, I can do that, really enter the contest, friends. Submit your before picture before January 31st, and let's get after it. We are here to hold hands with you to help you become a whole new you, so that you can then potentially go and win some pretty significant income. You can choose to do one of those packages. You can also mix and match. You heard the doctors earlier talking about the boosting of the immune system. We have some amazing immune boosting products. You'll be hearing the doctors that invited you talk more about that as you meet with them, but you can really do whatever you want to do with this company. I will tell you that all of us as a group of healthcare providers really love people starting with the Core Plus and the detox, then adding these things on as necessary or at the beginning. I know we're talking a lot and we're talking fast. You can go to purelifechangers.com to get more information, to see some real stories, to hear more physicians talking, and pause it, rewind it, and learn as much as you want to learn from that page. If you are on Facebook, I would encourage you to asked to be added to what I call TripAdvisor for Pure. It is loaded with thousands and thousands of testimonies. So don't take our word for it. Go in there and type in migraines and see all the hundreds of testimonies that pop up with people seeing their migraines totally disappear as a result of consuming these products. So how do you get started? You're going to get back to the doctors. You can, of course, go to livepure.com and type in their names, but we encourage you to get back to the doctors to get your questions answered. The Core Plus package that I talked about, it's less than $10 a day, friends. You restart your body for less than $10 a day for 1 month. After that, you pick and choose, figure out what you want to do. But who here is ready for a restart? Who here is sick of the fear of worrying about getting sick and worrying about a virus and is ready to take control of their health? This is the way to do it. The detox is what I'm doing right now. $4.49 with that preferred customer pricing for you to get a whole month's worth of meals and the supplementation that goes along with it. I highly recommend that. Of course, you can pick and choose and add on as you want to with any of the other products. And so I just want to say welcome to our family. It is an amazing gift that we have here in Pure. And I have no doubt that the products are for everybody. And I hope that you understand the blessing you're being given to have this many medical providers for free pouring into you things that we know can change your life forever. It absolutely changed my husband and I's life. My nephew, who'd struggled with autism, had not spoken. We're told he would never speak. We were told he would always be in diapers. Within 3 months of consuming these products, he was speaking in full sentences. Within 2 years, he was in kindergarten in a public elementary school. I lost 33 pounds in my first 3 months on the system. My husband, who was struggling with severe depression, anger, and paranoia, totally resolved in the first 6 weeks. People get started 6 days in, they're like, how come it's not all fixed? How come I still feel the way I felt? You've destroyed your body for decades, friends. We're handing you the answer. We're going to lock arms with you and walk with you through a health improvement, but you got to give it some time. You got to give it some time. So I'm going to hand it back over to Dr. Osanubi. I think I'm going to make you a host. And so thank you guys for joining us. It's my honor to be able to share a little bit of my experience. And like I said, we're just here to help you change your life. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Rachel. So amazing. We really appreciate you. And I'm just going to ask Dr. Ann and Dr. K-Ann to come on and to jump on the call with your cameras. And it's time for questions. Thank you, Dr. Nkam. Really appreciate everyone's contribution so far. This has been an amazing group of participants and I would say learners and people who are really looking forward to jumpstart their health. And this is a wonderful time to do a Q&A. So I suggest that, let's see if I can unmute folks. That's it. Trying to figure out how to unmute everyone at the same time. So I may have to do that one by one, I'm not sure, but you can use
try unmuting them. They could try unmuting themselves.
Yeah, just unmute yourself or you can put, you can type questions into the chat box, okay? All right, so the question is, will we get a recording of the program? That's a really good question. It's been recorded. I think I'm going to have to defer to Dr. Ann and Dr. K-Ann for that response to that question.
Yeah, we can actually get, I'm sorry, Dr. Ijeh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we can get a recording to you. Just send us your information, make sure we have your email address and we can send it. 'Cause we know that was a lot of information. We went pretty quickly, right? So just send us your email address, make sure we have that. I'm not sure who asked, I didn't see the question. So make sure we have your email address. Georgia, yeah, so get your email address and we can send it over to you.
Actually, I'm just going to suggest that perhaps first you may want to just type your email into the chat box. That way we can send those people who are requesting the recording, right? So that's one way, another way of doing that.
Yes.
Awesome. Any other questions? I can pause the recording right now.